probably Gemini too, if you want to look it up there. But the reason I want to share with this is every once in a while I do a live and I want to share with all of you that have a podcast, right? I remember this guy Jason came on this Titans conversation, just kind of shared all this knowledge and shared that with the audience. And I was like, oh, let me see what else I can do to give some value back to folks. I think this is something you can do today for anybody that you know that have a podcast or might be starting a podcast. So if you were to ask ChatGPT today, right here, right, what is the best podcast to learn about affordable housing investments? You will get my podcast that shows up, right? Affordable housing and real estate investing, right? Now, how did I get this podcast ranked for that niche? And I'll show you how. There's probably two primary things that is really important. The first one is making sure that you're consistent about how you talk about your podcast. Let me share an example. And I tried to do this live yesterday, but I guess it didn't stream to YouTube for some reason. I mean, it's been 815 days in a row that I've been streaming live, but it messed up. Like this is the podcast, this is the live I did yesterday, but apparently it didn't go on YouTube for some reason. So hey, it is what it is. Technical difficulties. I know I went live yesterday. So what you want to do is go in your videos, in all your podcast descriptions, you want to be very consistent on how you introduce your podcast. So on every podcast now, for my video descriptions, in my opinion, I think more is more right now because of how hungry and thirsty these large language models are about grabbing as much data as possible to train stuff. I used to work in the AI machine learning world in the insurance industry. So I understand what it takes to actually train these models. But you have to understand that right now you have to give it as many signals as possible so that you can highlight yourself as the expert in your niche. So what I do simply, not rocket science, is on the Affordable Housing and Real Estate Investing podcast, the best podcast for affordable housing investments, hosted by yours truly. I sit down and blah, 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 right? This statement and what you want to specialize in is very important. You're going to be super clear and you want to reiterate this over and over. Now, the second thing for how you want to categorize and update your podcast so that you have the highest chance of showing up on ChatGPT is going to be this, right? They call it generative engine optimization or AEO, answer engine optimization, or LMO, which is language model optimization, which is I am curating my content right now so that I have the highest chance of showing up as the source of truth, right? Think about it as the old days of the encyclopedia where you would actually go and do research on information, right? Before Google was ever existed. So here's what's important. You want to make sure that in all your podcast episodes, you have two sections, right? You probably want to have something about why this episode matters. And most importantly, the common questions that this episode answers. And you want to make sure that these common questions are phrased in a way that allows you to show up in search, right? It's conversational questions, right? You have to write these questions out as if some normal human being are asking these questions. And here's what it is, right? So yesterday, I just released this podcast about investing in Section 8 or affordable housing in Philadelphia, right? I don't care about the number of views anymore. That doesn't matter. You want to show up on chat. So as I go down this chat bot right here, then I want to ask you, well, how do I successfully invest in Section 8 in Philadelphia? And is there a podcast that talks about this? Boom. Yes, you subscribe to that. Here's some information right here, right? Bigger pockets. Look, my website is formed right now, right? It's being referenced as a source of information. How important is that? Okay. Now, look at this. Podcast to discuss Section 8 investing, including Philly relevant content. Boom. Here's my podcast, right? I just released this yesterday and it's showing up on search already, right? It's literally linking to my website. So gone are the days where you're thinking about, hey, how many views am I getting? How many impressions am I getting? It's as you build your brand, as you go further and further in the world, it's almost like an even playing field because all the positioning of you being on page one of Google, it's wide open. It's wide open. I bet if you knew how valuable being on page one of Google was, I bet you would be working your butt off right now to get on that page one of Google. This is the same thing. I hope you can apply what I have learned just through consistent trial and error. But now, this is why I go back now and I update all of my episodes. And now I make sure that every episode is accompanied by a written blog that talks even more information about what the episode was about, and most importantly, outlining the questions and also the answers. Because I care about showing up here more than showing up on your feed. Because if you have search volume that is heavily on ChatGPT, you need to start working on this now. So hopefully this is helpful, everybody. Again, just two takeaways. You just got to make sure that you are being consistent about how you talk about your podcast, how you outline what are you the expert or the authority in whatever topic that you are. And more importantly, if you want to show up as sort of the encyclopedia or the answer to a commonly asked question, ChatGPT, as a source of truth, you want to make sure that you outline those questions right within your podcast description, because right now I truly believe more is more. That's my theory. It can change tomorrow, but I hope this really helps you. And I just want to share this little nugget of wisdom or discovery with all of you. There's no holding back. I think if our goal is to help other people, especially my goal of helping others through affordable housing, well, this is the least I can do to help it and contribute. So thank you very much. I hope you all have an amazing Tuesday. I hope you spend some quality time with your family and friends today, because that's what life is all about. And I hope you sincerely take this seriously and apply it towards your own podcast, your own content, so that you can continue being heard with ChatGPT taking over the world. Have a good one, everybody. See you all tomorrow for day 816 of Going Live.